let's get the very latest from the Shadow Work and Pensions Secretary now. Jonathan Ashworth is here. Before we start on other matters, can I just ask you, we had the chair of the Select Committee, Caroline Dinenage, on the programme a little bit earlier, and she says that ITV bosses have a lot of questions to answer over what happened with Philip Schofield and this unnamed runner.
Well, I've got to be honest, I haven't followed the twists and turns as closely as perhaps Caroline has, but from what I've seen, it does suggest that there are questions for ITV. I think there is an internal inquiry taking place, but it does seem appropriate that the chair of the Culture and Media Select Committee looks into this further, which is what I assume she is suggesting she's going to do.
Indeed. So we'll wait and see what happens as far as that is concerned. Also, I wanted to ask you about migrant barges. Will Labour keep them, the ones that the government's ordered?
Look, I mean, the problem with this is that Rishi Sunak keeps sort of boasting that he's got a plan to grip the situation. And actually, he isn't really dealing with the criminal gangs, the people smugglers. He refuses to go after them. In fact, you've seen very prominent Conservative MPs saying these criminal gangs will always be with us, as if we should just sort of give up on going after the criminal gangs. What Yvette Cooper's done, she's our Shadow Home Secretary, as you know, she's outlined a detailed plan as to how we will go after these criminal gangs. But we've also got to deal with the backlog in asylum processing. And this backlog bill that's going through Parliament isn't going to fix this backlog. If you fix the backlog in asylum processing, we're less of, if you like, an appropriate destination for these criminal gangs to exploit. So these are the measures that we would introduce to deal with these problems.
Would you keep the barges?
Well, we would hope that we wouldn't need the barges, of course, because we would be dealing with the asylum backlog and we'd be going after the criminal gangs.
But in the meantime, I mean, there's 100,000 people, 144,000 people. Let's say a third of them are rehomed or whatever by the time, if you get into power, you've still got 100,000. What will you do with them all?
Well, I guess let's see where we are in a year, 18 months' time when we're closer to a general election. But at the moment, we're putting forward a detailed plan to actually deal with the people smugglers, the criminal gangs, and to deal with the backlog in asylum processing.
So how would you deal with that? How would you deal with processing those that are coming over in small boats, given that there's so many people here at the moment?
Well, what you should do, you should invest properly in policing and security and work cooperatively cross-border on that, and we're not doing that at the moment. And the processing in the asylum system, that's about backlogs in the Home Office. So you've got to get a better system in place. I think it was something like only 1% of the applications for those who crossed by boats last year was processed. That's crazy. And the asylum backlog has just gone through the roof.
So what would be an acceptable number?
Under the Conservatives. Well, you've got to bring it down. I mean, I think it's
to
doubled.
What?
It's doubled. Well, I'm not going to give you specific figures today, but, I mean, it's something like doubled or something like that under the Conservatives, and you could bring it back down to a manageable number. And the moment is, because everybody knows that they've got this huge backlog in asylum cases where people can go for months and months and months and months and months with not getting a decision, even longer than months and months in some circumstances. That means the criminal gangs exploit that situation, and that is the root of this problem.
Let me ask you about Dale Vince, who owns Ecotricity. He was down the line. He spoke to me yesterday though, on the show. He said he probably would protest with Just Stop Oil. And we've heard from your boss, who said that as far as Just Stop Oil is concerned, they should just go home. You've also taken £1.5 million from Dale Vince. I mean, is there any conflict of interest there?
No. I mean, Dale Vince has donated to the Labour Party. Who else he wants to donate to, that's his decision. But what Keir Starmer is outlining today is a plan to rebuild our economy, to make our economy both more prosperous and more productive, and to create thousands, hundreds of thousands of good, well-paying, skilled jobs in the future energy sectors, which is important because it will bring down bills for every household across the country.
Yeah, but he's supporting a group that break the law.
We're not supporting a group. We're not remote.
No, he is supporting a group that breaks the law, Dale Vince.
Well, that's his decision. I mean, who he supports is up to him. But if he wants to donate to the Labour Party...
So it doesn't make you queasy at all?
Well, it's his decision. Just because he's donated to the Labour Party does not mean we endorse the other decisions he makes as to where he puts his money. But what we are outlining today is a really big plan to create hundreds of thousands of good, well-paid jobs and bring down energy bills for every household across the country. And that is not happening under the Conservatives at the moment. In fact, under the Conservatives, after 13 years, the economy is in a mess. Nothing works in the country. We've got no growth in the economy. And we've actually got levels of employment lower now than they were before the pandemic.
Nothing works in the country. There's a little bit of a sweeping generalisation, but
Well, what does work? I mean, come on, you can't get a hospital appointment, you can't get a GP appointment. You know, the schools are collapsing. The economy is a mess. Everyone is paying more on their mortgage as a consequence of the decisions this Conservative government has made. So I think nothing does work.
And we've got some bloke who's giving money to an organisation that he knows, and we all know who breaks the law, and it doesn't make you at all queasy that he's also giving money to your party.
But who he gives money to is up to him.
He
We don't
can
agree
break
with
the law.
We don't agree with Just Stop Oil. I don't agree with them throwing orange powder, disrupting the snooker and all the other things that they are doing. That is no way to win over hearts and minds. But who he gives his money to is up to him. What we're focused on is a plan to rebuild our economy, create hundreds of thousands of good, well-paying jobs in our economy and bringing energy bills down for every
But
household.
you've also got a former Extinction Rebellion legal strategist working for Labour now. There's quite a build-up of activism influence in your party.
No. What we are influenced by is what is in the interests of hard-working families out there. And we know they're really struggling. They're going to be paying more on their mortgage because of the decisions by this Conservative government. They're paying more on their weekly shop at the supermarket because the government's failed to tame inflation. The jobs that are out there don't pay enough for people to build a home and to build a family life, which is why we are focused on hard-working families to create an economy where bills are coming down, where people are better off and where there are good, well-paid jobs for the future.